Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The show is about to begin. Hey, welcome to another episode of Concerts That Made Us. I'm your host Brian, and before we get into this week's episode, find us and follow us on social media. Just search for Concerts That Made Us podcast. Rate and review us on iTunes. Really does help the show grow. Be sure to check out our website at www.concertsthatmadeus.com. And if you'd like to support the show, you can do so by signing up at patreon.com/concertsthatmadeus, where you'll receive lots of benefits, including video versions of the episodes. Now, on to this week's episode. My guest is Jasmin St Claire, a living legend, a cultural icon. I already know this episode is going to go down as a classic. From her career as an adult film star, an actress, a music journalist, and a professional wrestler. You know she has seen it all and had some pretty wild experiences. And also make sure you stick around to the end, where good friends of the show, Agency Panic, will be playing us out with their latest release. So, without further ado, let's get on with the show. Jasmin St Claire, you're very welcome to Concerts That Made Us.
Thank you for having me on here.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I feel like we're going to have a very fun episode.
I don't know, but that's because of my my rant before you started taping. Because you this is like, it's 10 o'clock in the morning here in LA. I started my day about an hour ago, kind of. So yeah, this is how the crazy train usually starts.
Speaking of which, you've recently started a podcast. You've had an extraordinary life with some very interesting experiences, and you decided to start a podcast. Would you like to tell the listeners about it?
Originally, I didn't want a podcast or any of that type of things. It's just like, you have a cool one, by the way. So this doesn't apply to you or anyone I know. It's just like everyone and everyone's cat has a freaking podcast. And I just didn't know. I don't want one, because like everyone, even like insignificant, that don't have anything cool to say or any talent, has a freaking podcast. So I'm like, I just don't want it. So my manager paired me up with this guy, Greg, who's awesome. I love Greg because he loves heavy metal and he's so much fun to talk to. And we just started it. So it's all my stories. Sometimes I have guests on the show. Like I had Terrence from Suffocation on there. I'll probably get more like just wrestlers, other people I know, people that have done something cool or fun, or people that have, they were the pioneers of death metal. That could be argued with, Cannibal Corpse, just like people argue over Venom and like Merciful Fate or something. What's real black metal? Like, where did it start? So yeah, my whole intent with that is just to do all the stories I have, to bring in guests, like friends from the past and present that are cool, and maybe strange people, maybe someone, like maybe Lorena Bobbitt, if I'm really lucky. I love her. Like she's like my idol in some ways, really? Not all. Yeah.
You have to have a bit of strange.
Well, someone gave me a t-shirt. They made it. It says, not guilty, and it has Lorena Bobbitt's mugshot. So I wore that on a date, and this guy's like, yeah, I gotta go. I'm like, I'm not gonna cut anything. Like, I'm not gonna cut anything off of you. I just think it's a great shirt. Yeah. So some people have like no humor.
I find nowadays more and more people have less and less humor. It's getting harder to find people with a good sense of humor.
I love your voice, by the way. I miss Europe. I just miss Ireland. I love Cork.
Oh.
It's like being in a fairy tale. So if I get a really good photo of Cork, Ireland, my whole goal is to just pull like that whole Mary Poppins thing and just jump through the photo and I'll be there.
You've visited Cork a few times, haven't you?
Yeah, I lived in London before, and I've been to Ireland, but my ex lived there. He had a tattoo parlor.
Oh.
We were supposed to meet and go ride motorcycles, but then he moved back to the States. I'll still go there and ride a motorcycle with someone, but just not him now.
Right. That's another love of your life, actually, motorcycles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan myself. My parts of my family would be bikers now that always be into bikes. I've yet to get one myself, but it's like on my bucket list.
You got to do it. Like if you don't do it, you'll never know what that real freedom is. And I think like it's one of those things. If a guy dates me, he has to know how to ride or want to. My ex that I was with for like 6 years, that's the only cool thing he got. One of the cool things he got from me. And I don't think he does it now or as much. Hi, say hi, Enzo.
Oh,
hi.
It's lovely.
And
it's a cool name.
He's cute. And yeah, so I don't think he rides as much because I think when most men end up getting married or having kids or something, they just, for whatever reason, don't want to ride as much anymore.
Yeah. I've noticed that with people I know. It's like they feel like they have to settle down and take less risks, I suppose.
Ugh, no, you're never going to get 100% of what you want in a relationship, but I feel as though 60% is fun, but you have to love metal and ride motorcycles and have a career. I don't support anyone anymore.
Oh, brilliant.
It's true, but yeah, that's one thing. So Crazy Train is with a K to everyone listening, because obviously I'm not all there myself.
And I just wanted to mention some of the stories. They're very entertaining. There was one episode I listened to and you were talking about Motley Crue and a hot tub.
Oh, and this is a real Jersey, by the way. The most annoying thing is when you see these hipsters and these kids that weren't even like a sperm in their dad's ball sack wearing a freaking jersey. It's like, can I just run you down and ask you name one song off that album or one song from that show? And of course you can't do that because in today's society, oh, that's like so insensitive. How could you do that? Yeah, that was fun. That Motley Crue story was really weird. Because one thing, I was never into the guys. I was always into the music more than anything else. The only musician I've ever really dated was Lemmy from Motorhead. And he's one of the most fascinating, interesting people. Like I was very lucky to know on that level. And we remained friends, but the Motley Crue thing was just such a fluke thing. And I had no idea that was Vince Neil. Like you look one way, you look hot one way. Okay. You look semi-hot then, but I don't think I thought they were as hot because all the girls liked them. And this was more my friend with her, with her fuckery that wanted to do something. And like, yeah, we went to the room, big deal. I could say I was in a hot tub naked with them, but that's like as far as I'll go. Right. But just like, I think I didn't really know much about egos back then, male egos then. It took me like 20 something years later to learn about that. And I think it was more the fact that we bruised his ego. We bruised Vince Neil's ego. But to have like your like wannabe Suge Knight NWA bodyguard like threaten us because we don't want to hang out with you. Like, what's up with that?
Yeah, it's a bit childish.
Well, I think his ego was as big as his belly back then. I don't know what he looks like now. I saw him at the Key Club like years later with Wasp. Yeah. That's when we had good shows in Hollywood and like original shows. Sorry, there's just a fire truck leaving. I can't see the firemen, but I'm assuming they're hot. And it was just a weird thing. I met Nikki Sick also that same weekend at the same thing in Vegas. And I took photos with him. But some of those guys, I like remember the Poison album cover? It looked like four hot girls. When I saw the Motley Crue out, you knew those weren't girls. Those are just hot guys with makeup on. Like did they get it from the whole corpse paint thing from black metal? Did they do it to themselves? But just hanging out with one of those members in a hot tub was a totally different experience. It's like, it was really cheap in a way because he knew that they could have been everywhere, all over Hollywood. But at the same time, it was cool because I tried to have like a normal conversation with him in a way about other things. But I guess when they see that you're like, oh, it's a porn star, it's like this whole other thing. I got that. I would do the same way too if I were I'd be like the worst guy ever, I feel. So yeah. But I love their music still. I wonder like how many tours do you think they're gonna do till they actually retire? You have the Kiss tour, and like my friend is working on that as a costumer. Right. How many tours till they actually retire?
I think about 11 or 12 years ago, I was actually at Kiss's farewell tour, and they're still going. They'll never stop, you know. Every year it's the farewell tour. They're just really milking it now.
Yeah, I dated a member from Kiss once. It wasn't like who everyone would think. Right. It was like maybe 2 dates, but I got bored.
Really?
Yeah. I really got bored.
They don't seem like the boring type now, I have to say.
Me?
No, Kiss. They don't seem like they'd be boring to date. You don't either, obviously.
I met through my friend Missy Hyatt because I was wrestling, and I told her what a big fan I was, and he showed up. This specific member showed up at one of my appearances with these 2 blondes, and like he looked the same kind of, but he had a hairpiece or whatever. It looked like a beaver tail, and I said, yeah, I want to meet you, but just not like this type of thing like you might think might happen. And he was calling me till like 5 a.m. in my hotel room where I was staying. So another girlfriend of mine knew him. I said, Gene, you know, this isn't what I want. Like, I love your music and I respect everything you've done. Like I have vintage shirts. I have vintage albums as well. So I still have my love gun with the gun. Dressed to Kill. You have like the stick-on tattoos. Yeah. It's at my mom's place. And it was fun. Like, I think Gene Simmons is cool, but I just didn't want to like go there or there.
Yeah.
So I went out with someone else from the band on a couple of dates, and I met that guy at the Kiss convention. It was cute. It's not for me though, but like, I think if I were to date a guy in a band now, it would have to be someone Scandic, like a big Viking guy.
Right.
Well, I'm not really into American guys anyway. Everyone knows that, but
yeah. Yeah. Okay. You mentioned T-shirts before we get into your concert experiences. I really like how you feel about concert T-shirts, because that's like my major thing. Every concert or show I go to, I have to get a T-shirt as a souvenir. And I have a massive collection of them now at the moment. And I loved what you said on your show about all your collection of T-shirts.
Yeah, it's important. Like my Exodus Toxic Waltz one, I'm wearing it. So just tell me why there's some like guy with a bitch bun going down the street wearing an Exodus shirt. I didn't really say anything. Then I just like gave him a dirty look. I was this close to coming up to him and ripping that freaking thing off his head and saying, how did you get that shirt? You know, because hipsters are nothing more than boring middle of the road people who bear the image of a badass that haven't really done anything cool. But yeah, he had an Exodus shirt on. It looked like a newer one. I don't think he knew anything about the Toxic Waltz or Fabulous Disaster. And like when you see certain people wearing them, like the Kardashians, I found out that their wardrobe person is a metalhead.
Right.
Now, we know metalheads are extremely loyal, and it's kind of dumb to think like a poser will get that loyal fan base. It just doesn't work that way. And you look like a plastic-headed freaking sea donkey, so you're not going to get them. Trust me.
Yeah, exactly. Over here, we actually have a store. I'm not sure, you might have seen it one of your visits to Cork. It's called Pennies. It's like you know it? Yeah, so
I know the store.
The last couple of years they've been doing like knockoff T-shirts of like the Stones, Nirvana, you know, Motley Crue. And you always see these like 16, 17-year-old people going around wearing those T-shirts, and you're like, as you said, tell me one of their songs. You know, it wrecks my head. It's so annoying.
It's gross. And that's part of what's wrong with society today is they don't have good original music.
Yeah.
They really don't. Let alone like everyone's doing a remake of this show, that show, something like this. How about let's just get original? And it's annoying, it's like, go get a freaking shirt of like something you really like and listen to. So my friend, he made the shirt for me, the Lorena Bobbitt one. Now, long before I knew about Gary Holt's t-shirt, I said to this guy, he has a company called Morbid Empire. So just like, if anyone can, I know it's a cheap plug, I'm really sorry, but just since we're on that topic, go to his Facebook page. I ran into him and I bought a Blue Velvet t-shirt from the movie. So I said, you got to make one that says slaughter the Kardashians or kill the Kardashians. And I said, you should take like that nice black and white photo of Mama Bear and the skanks and like just bloody it, do something. And he did. It says slaughter the Kardashians. They have men's shirts, but I have the baby tee. It's like one of my favorite t-shirts. And I wore it to an acting class like last year or the year before that when we had in person, which have now gone back. Someone got offended.
Oh man.
I'm like, I said, so you support like people like that? They don't have talent. They'll never go to a class, let alone have any. So that's like really the guy, by the way, she dropped out of school like a week later. And I don't think she's done much since then. You wear it to like an improv school, people are going to get it and they don't give a shit. But to like a serious like Meisner or Strasberg class, this happened in a Strasberg class, not Meisner.
All right.
That's where the girls asked her. Yeah, she was like some kind of I'm an influencer and like my boyfriend's a football player. Yeah, like that. So you don't influence me. So.
Oh God, I really can't stand people like that. I hate the whole term influencer. It just, go get a real job,
I could pay for like followers too, but I don't. I put like a lot of beauty products and things there. And yeah, some companies like they give me stuff, but I wouldn't post it unless I'm using it. So anything I have posted, I really do use, like all the skin and hair things, the migraine things, all that stuff. I use it. So people send me shit all the time. I just don't post it if I don't like it.
Yeah. But like you yourself, you can be an influencer. You're famous for something else. You've got a big career behind you. You deserve to be able to do that, put stuff up. Never mind like an 18-year-old who has never aspired to anything more than being an influencer,
Well, I should just have a cult. That's what I'll do. But the funny thing is, like when I did my one-woman show, and even like these young kids that are in my acting classes, they're like, oh, like they learn about who you are, but they just really don't care. And it's these young girls, wow, that's so cool. Like, I want to hear about stories in your life. Yeah, because you'll never live the 90s again. And it's a lot of shock culture is what my podcast is. So, try to fucking cancel me. Let's see you do that. Okay. I'm not big enough to be canceled, but when I do get that big, you're going to be canceled. You can go suck my ass. No one's going to cancel me. And, there are a lot of people who buy into that. And I think people are getting really sick of it because people come to this country for that very reason of free speech. And you are not allowed to do that. You are not allowed to be this or that. And a lot of the youth today, they are highly underinformed. That's why I say no one under the age of 21 votes. And secondly, they should have a quiz before you vote to know the real initiatives of people. Like with that Gavin campaign, I was heavily for getting rid of Gavin Newsom because he has made a complete gross shit show of California, and people are underinformed. They're like, oh, well, all Republicans and all moderates want the death penalty. No, that is not true. They want to like get rid of the homeless off the streets, lower taxes, and bring businesses back. So there's a young kid at the gym that I go to who had something for the recall. He saw me sign it and just gave me this look. I said, look, do you really know what this is about? And I had to explain everything. He's like, I really appreciate you for explaining this to me because I had no clue. He signed the recall petition, but then I was at the gym, yesterday, and the same kid was working there. It's weeks later, and he's reading this whole book on like politics and these articles. So he's like, yeah, they're trying to build some interim like housing here for people leaving prison and leaving a homeless shelter. That's a halfway house. I'm like, exactly. And I didn't even tell you anything. So it's just a lot of misinformation, just like with metal. And, people get so caught up with the drinking the Kool-Aid of things. Like I drank the Kool-Aid when I was like 10, that the Black Sabbath show, they're going to kill a live puppy before they go on stage. And that mortified me,
Yeah.
Then you look at Witchcraft Coven, who I really would love to see Witchcraft Coven live in person, because I love Jinx. I think she's like gorgeous and amazing. But do they really have a satanic ritual? Like, do you know anyone that's seen Witchcraft Coven at all?
I actually don't.
You're probably too young. Like, what are you, 22 or something?
Jeez, thanks. No, I'm 34.
Oh, okay. All right.
So we better move on to your concerts. Actually, I could spend hours talking to you like this, but I know you've got other engagements today. But your very first concert experience, what was it?
It would be Black Sabbath, the Mob Rules tour. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Madison Square Garden.
And how did you end up getting into Black Sabbath?
My babysitter.
Now that's a babysitter I want.
Yeah, she was hot too, I think. I think she's on my Facebook, but she, I already had a satanic Bible. My mom let me have one. Just, we weren't practicing anything. It's just because you're a kid, and she always like raised me to look at like whatever you're allowed to do this, and you're curious. Here you go. I wasn't exactly running like rituals in my bedroom with pentagrams. So she was from France. And at the time I was at the Lycée Français. I was at the French school, and I'd gone off to another private school. So I was still keeping up with my French.
Yeah.
So she was in this program doing that, and she was babysitting me. She did ask my mom that, I have 2 tickets for Black Sabbath, so can I take her tonight? So I went. There was not marijuana. There were a lot of like hot long-haired guys. And that's when I like had this whole fascination with long-haired guys, metalheads.
Yeah.
We went. We're like maybe 4th or 5th, like 5th row, something like really close to the stage. And I was freaking out about the puppy already, even though there was no puppy. It was a very distinct memory in my head because everything just seemed so larger than life.
Yeah.
People kind of like seeing a little kid at a concert.
It would at that age as well. Like it must have been very overwhelming in a sense, being so young and a massive crowd and a band like that as well.
It was big. Just the experience alone was big. Just watching them on stage and the music. And my Mob Rules baseball jersey, like I still have it somewhere, and it fit me like a dress. And my babysitter was hot, and these men were talking to her, and she was pretty strict. And I'm working right now, and you cannot talk to me. I'm with the child. So it was really cool. And I feel like that made it, that's what got me turned on to more things, like more doom metal, if that's what you'd like to call it, is doom metal. And I wanted every Black Sabbath album. So I started buying Black Sabbath. And then from there, it just got to like what Iron Maiden. I looked up more doom metal bands then. So that's how I learned about Witchcraft Coven. And I was like intrigued. It's a dark side of things that I feel intrigue people. And that concert, although I don't want to see a little baby puppy get put to death, even though I feel like killing my cat sometimes because he does things he's not supposed to. I was curious. I was a kid. I was 10 in New York City. The adults around me were like my mom, my dad, my grandma, and then my babysitter. And I was skip braided at that point once. So I had older people around me. So going to a show and seeing what the adults do, it was something else. And it was really special. Then after years of that, years later, I see Ronnie James Dio, I see Ozzy, and you tell them, I went to the Black Sabbath tour, Mob Rules. I think, who was that singing then? Was it Dio on that tour?
I think it would have been with us.
Yeah. And I saw him in Norway years later when I lived there. with his band. I saw him at the Ritz in New York City. I saw him when it was Rowan. Who was the new guitarist? Ian Rowan something. Well, he was cute then. And I saw Yngwie. Like I'd seen a lot of great shows after that, but I feel like that's what really turned my music into the more heavy stuff. At 10 years old, being at that impressionable age where you see that. And everyone else, like I still listen to disco and gangster rap and things like that, but good gangster rap from the 90s. I listen to everything because my mom taught me never like insult other people's taste. That's why I just don't do that. I've never done that growing up as a kid. I think people should just like what they like, but don't push it on me like MGK and that crap. So I would say Black Sabbath is what really turned me on to everything. And then it turned me on to the whole British metal.
Yeah.
Now, my first painted jacket was Iron Maiden, Killers.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was my boyfriend then was this Irish mobster. And I think he had to have some kind of gig on the side. So he was doing tattoos. It's not the same tattoo artist, the one in Ireland, but
right.
He took my denim jacket from me. It had like a Saxon patch, a Megadeth patch, a bunch of stuff. And then, I painted the Killers album cover. After that, it was Manowar. Which album was it? Kings of Metal.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I want another painted jacket. I just don't know what I'd want. Would I want Dissection? Would I want King Diamond? I'd probably take a Dissection painted jacket because you have to really be into metal and good stuff to know what that is.
Yeah, I get you. I have to ask though, with Black Sabbath, Dio or Ozzy?
Don't do this to me.
Tough question, I know.
Dio.
Really?
I like Ozzy, but I had a personal experience with Sharon.
Right.
I was on Ozfest one tour. My boyfriend at the time was drumming in Slayer, Paul Bostaph. Amazing, talented human. Like I really hope things work out for him the way he's deserved in life because he's great all around. And I remember it was the end of the Ozfest tour. It was Rob Zombie, Ozzy Osbourne, Slayer.
Oh man.
And I was around, you'd seen me around the tour. I met the Black Sabbath guys. The crew guys are really cool. I loved seeing Ozzy. It was a real privilege to see him with Black Sabbath then.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I felt bad for him because it just looked like he was kind of slowly,
Yeah.
He's a great showman, but I feel as though his wife was extremely rude and unnecessarily so. She'd seen me, and it was the last day after the show, last day of the tour, and there was a party. So I had Paul's pass temporarily, and she stands there at the front. And she'd seen me a couple hours before. Oh, Paul, you look really good, Paul. So I don't know if you were supposed to be here. Whose pass this is? How do you have Paul's pass? I said, well, I'm his girlfriend. I've been on the show and we just met. And I was speaking to your son the other day, to Jack. Well, I don't know. I don't think you can come in here. I've got to take that pass from you. So I don't even know if I'm the accent right. Was she Cockney or some shit? Yeah. Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
Cockney accent. Yeah. So then the crew guys were there. They saw her like, no, Sharon, just let her in. She's fine. She gives me this dirty look. Fine. You can go, Paul, but you might want to get your own pass. Yeah, Sharon, it's the last day of the tour, so that's not happening. And it just left a bad taste in my mouth that I have a lot of respect for what she's done for him. I have respect for their relationship, whatever that may be. But as a person dealing with the public and dealing with others, I feel as though there's some bitterness in her for maybe things he may and may have not done with other women at some point in time. But you don't go taking that out on other people because it's your husband's thing. I was friendly with Randy Costello when I first moved to LA, and we used to hang out all the time. And he would tell me stories, but I just have a bad taste in my mouth after that. about whatever controls him to do what he does. But he's an excellent showman, and he's a very talented person and very memorable in all of our youths. I went to the Bark at the Moon tour. Like, why the hell didn't he get coronavirus if it was really from a bat? Okay. So I just didn't, I thought it was really disgusting. And that's kind of why I don't think I'd really have warmed up to Black Sabbath with Ozzy. But I think it was right there, but I like Dio, because Dio reminds me of a leprechaun, and leprechauns remind me of rainbows and magic. And I liked his albums. I like Dream Evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was great. He was larger than life on stage. I thought Ozzy was great too, but if I have to say, I'm just going to go with Dio, just because of that plain thing with Sharon.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you. I'd say a lot of people would be the same. She never comes across as a people person anyway. She's all business, and she would be rude to you, if you met her in person. She seems like one of them, I don't want to say nasty, but there's probably no better word. She seems like an absolutely nasty person.
Yeah, and I get business. I mean, because one thing I've been known for is when I was like in the adult business, I wasn't there to make friends. I was there to make money and do what I have to do. And I made a couple of friends along the way that are actually fabulous people doing extremely well with other things, that I have a lot of respect for. And, they found love, they found marriages, they found great careers, whatever it is that they've wanted. They've had their blessed lives. Here I am talking about satanic albums and saying blessed in the same paragraph. And, it's just that thing. It's just, you could still, you don't have to be nasty to everyone throwing around your power cock or whatever it is you want to throw around. And I heard about that scandal a few years ago, allegedly, with Ozzy and some hairdresser. But my friend also writes for their TV show.
Oh, really?
Their unscripted reality show. Yeah.
Oh, yes, the unscripted one.
So, he hates it, by the way.
Really? I'd say, it's not a job I'd like. I'd hate to have to deal with her day in, day out. I doubt many people last too long, in business.
I think
for her,
Jack's great.
For her. Yeah, he's comes across very friendly and down to earth and very warm. He must have got it from Ozzy.
But yeah, that's it for Black Sabbath. I mean, and I saw it, just like after that, it was all downhill. Right. But I am spoiled by shows, because when I moved to Norway, my very first show in Norway before Inferno Festival was Enslaved, doing an acoustic set at a place, at a park in Akerbrygge. And not Akerbrygge. We were in Frogner at the park, and they did a very beautiful acoustic set, and I got to meet them.
Oh, cool. Yeah. That's that must have been
it was beautiful.
Yeah, I was just going to say it must have been a beautiful experience.
And festivals in Europe are run so much more. Like, my favorite one is Bloodstock. I think Vicky is amazing. She's a wonderful, she's a powerhouse in everything she does. And Sharon could take an example in class and business from her.
Yeah. And
also Adam's amazing. Her brother, it's a very good festival, and I love going there. I just haven't been in a while, so I just have to. Last time I was supposed to go, it was all this nightmare with this airline, and just So I will go again, hopefully this summer, now that things are back to normal. And because I really am a huge fan of just how they run things there inside, from top to finish.
Yeah, I've always wondered that, actually, festivals compared to America to Europe, which one was
disorganized here.
Really?
Totally disorganized. Yeah. They don't eat. I mean, it's really disorganized for the most part. Sounds of the Underground was good, but I feel like the festivals, it's a European thing. And I would go to a festival in the cold weather there. I worked with Inferno Festival for a few years in Norway, and that was quite an honor. Working with them, because they're very good people. I love the owners there, and just the staff in general. They're a great group of people.
Yeah. What would you say was the best experience you've ever had at a concert?
Come on, everything's been an experience. Okay, best experience. Let's see. Enzo, what's the best experience? Oh, so you weren't even born yet. Let's see. Best experience. Oh, okay, yeah. When I was 16.
Right.
I went to see Iron Maiden.
Oh.
And I made friends with my neighbor. She's a bartender. My mom was out of town and I got to go backstage. I have the photos still. Now, French is like my second language. And hang on, is that a fire ambulance again? When I saw Iron Maiden, it was great. So Yannick Gers had just started playing. And it was my first time meeting a band backstage. I got to speak French with Bruce Dickinson. Plus, I took fencing before too at that time.
Yeah.
And I got to, I don't know, it was like, we were talking about fencing, we were talking French, and he's so hot. Like, I'm sure he's married, but he is the only person, like one of the few guys in metal, I think are extremely hot, like in so many ways because of his French expertise, and he can fly a plane. Plus he's British. So I would say Maiden, and I have to pick a second one. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Amon Amarth.
Right. Why?
I love their Viking ship. I just want to go sailing on it. Just take me away. No, they're very powerful live. It's such a tough question you gave me. Children of Boredom. Like, I don't know what that was then, but it's
hard to narrow it down.
And I like Suffocation when they had Frank, but I really feel as though having that experience at 16 and meeting Maiden was amazing. I was going to say Priest, like the last show, but my friend took me, who owns a record label, who runs one, my friend Al, and I wasn't eating that. I don't really eat a lot during the day. And I had some tequila. We were like third or fourth row in, and Judas Priest is there. Like Rob Halford comes out in the motorcycle, which I love. Yeah. I was already really drunk, and I started screaming at him, I want you to be my leather daddy, baby. You're so... I was hitting on Rob Halford. Anyway, there are parents there with their kids. Some woman like put her hands over her kid's ears and gives me this dirty look. I'm man. What? But yeah, I don't know. I've had interesting experiences, but I would say seeing Maiden at 16 and meeting them was great.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And they were so nice. They took photos, and there were such lovely people. All of them.
Yeah.
Yannick was really cool too. Whatever happened to Yannick Gers anyway? I forgot. Is he still with them? Yeah. He looked hot then too.
What about now? Do you still think they look hot in their older years?
Bruce definitely does. Like I said, it's definitely about looking super hot, but then also interesting. And he's interesting to me.
Yeah.
So, like we had this discussion about Lemmy before. I don't know. I don't know what the others look like. Steve Harris, I ran into him a few years ago. I guess they're pretty hot. They're very talented.
Yeah.
I see guys like my own age at the shows though. And it's like, they're fucking balding. Excuse my English, but they're balding and stuff. Some of them look good, they're muscular. I don't know. I get bored really easily of guys, like super easy. Like you've got to somehow be into traveling. Once like someone eliminates certain foods, like if you eliminate spicy foods or not even open to trying like spicy Indian food, not like curry from hell or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just can't be around someone that's into just flat out steak and potatoes. Even though I like Guinness pies, I love like British food, and I love that whole culture of those pies. If you jump up here, I swear to God. Okay, so yeah, it's the cat. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, our food is great, but it's a bit bland compared to other foods. You have to, mix it up, and you can't close anything off really. You have to try spicy food. You have to, variety.
Well, with the British, there's a British place down the street from me called the King's Head. I go there now and again for tea time because it's fun.
Right.
I can't even finish like half the stuff on that plate. I just like the experience, and I miss going to St. James's Park and being able to do that. Then they have the shepherd's pie. So I'll get like spicy mustard with it.
Oh.
Like, don't fool yourself. I like the Sainsbury's, like angel cake. I love stuff like that. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
But I like foods from different cultures, like wherever I am. So let's say I'm in Ireland, I want to have what you have. I don't want to go there and have like Indian food or like kebabs. I don't want that. Okay.
Yeah.
Even when I'm drunk, I want to have your food, just what's there. If I'm in India, I want to have Indian food, but I've never been to India. But I do believe in England, you have amazing Indian food because there's a huge Indian population.
Yeah.
And it's really lovely. The food there, it's very different.
Yeah. Yeah. I often wondered, is it, if you went to India, would it be the same type of food? Or would it be completely different? Because I've heard with...
Well, I've had authentic Indian. There's a restaurant down the street from here, and it's extremely different than when they Americanize the food. They just infuse it and make it, they're catering to Americans. And I understand that. But then that's when you have to have a menu where you kind of know who you're dealing with when they sit down. They have the different levels of spiciness and so forth. But I like almost everything. I'm like, by no means a vegan, like most people would expect me to be. Yeah, I'm a carnivore all the way.
Oh, I am. Yeah, I'd be similar myself. I could never close myself off to meat or even close myself off to certain foods. It seems like a very boring way of life.
Yeah, it is.
But the last couple of questions, then I always find the answers that I get for these very interesting. If you could see any band or musician from history in concert for one night only, who would it be?
God damn you. Bloody hell. Let's see. Motorhead. Lemmy.
Yeah, I can see that. All right.
It's such a close connection we had. And I was in New Zealand once at Comic-Con. I didn't even know Motorhead was there. And someone told me, and I just showed up backstage, and the idiot working security, little jarhead, he had no idea who Motorhead was. I said, look, just get the tour manager, please, for the headliner. Well, I said, the headliner, Motorhead. Oh, them. I said, yes. So he brought him up. They, oh yeah, just come on back. And I just remember having like a shot of Jack Daniels or the Jack and Coke with Lemmy. Then like less than a minute later, you see him there on stage. Yeah. I feel as though he was an enigma and someone that was just, I think I just missed him as a person. And that's like one musician. Also his performances were wonderful. That is a band with that specific frontman I'd want to see.
Yeah.
Then there'd be Jimi Hendrix after, but him, yes.
Yeah. With Lemmy, was there a thing of, there's the man and then there's the persona, or was he the exact same in his personal life as he was known to be on stage?
I would say slightly, yeah. He was a really gentle human being. Any like person, he was really good at picking up on people and knowing what they were about,
Yeah.
And he'd say comments. I remember one of the last tours when he came to Norway, I went to see him and we were hanging out. Even after this show, like this is going to sound creepy and weird. People, like listeners, could take back whatever they want to from this. I actually spent the night with him in the hotel, but it's not like what you think. It's just someone to talk to and sit up with all night. I passed out. And that's all it is. It wasn't anything more. Is it inappropriate because I had a boyfriend at that time? Yeah, but he was a shitty boyfriend who was like all over town doing God knows what. He was like a personal trainer at the gym. So what do you expect?
Yeah.
And he was small, like super, like, what the hell am I doing with you? So yeah, I mean, just Lemmy, it was just like having an old friend that you just snuggled up with and just like slept with, someone who knew you.
Yeah.
Because this guy didn't even really know me. That he knew me, but he didn't know me because people get so stupid and judgmental. Yeah, so it's just, I saw him as a very tender, nice person outside of all that.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like some very special memories you have with him.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a shame not everyone could be like him, but I could say, I knew God. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, I agree. I agree. The next question, it's kind of odd now after what you've said about Lemmy, but I usually ask if you could spend 24 hours in a room with any musician or band from history, who would it be? Just you and them.
Dead or Alive, the band? Like, is the band Dead or Alive?
Yep, Dead or Alive.
Dissection.
Right. Why'd you pick them?
Because I love their albums, and whenever I like all the artwork, it was definitely like a darker side of black metal at that time when they came out, and it's very sad what happened to John Notwijk. But I feel as though they had some really great music and tunes, and I'm glad they weren't as mainstream as like some of these. Actually, no, I take that back. Sorry. I was at the Guest store like last year in New York City, and someone was making metal shirts, but they ripped off part of their artwork on a t-shirt. I told whoever was in charge, like, or whoever does their marketing, it's like whatever it was, what I saw, and I took photos of it. But I just feel as though they didn't get the recognition they deserved. And they're one of the best bands of all time. Every time I listen to their CDs, and it's in my iPod, I feel as though I'm on some dark, mystical journey through the ice ages. And it was perfect. Like, the music was perfect.
Yeah. It's a
bit long sometimes, but perfect.
That doesn't matter how long it is, as long as it's good.
And Children of Boredom would be next.
Really?
I had to throw that in, yeah. I like melodic. I like their music and their shows.
Yeah.
Plus, I think the bass player was super hot.
Okay.
I didn't make a move on those guys. I was interviewing a lot of these bands too, don't forget. So it wasn't worth it to be that person. There's enough of those girls out there already.
Yeah, true.
For sure.
If you could pick any song to appear on the soundtrack to your life, what would it be? If there was a song that could sum up your life perfectly. I know that's a really tough question to spring on you. But
So right now we're using Notorious from Lizzie Borden.
Okay.
Lizzie Borden for my outro and intro music on the podcast. That's I don't think it's I don't know. There is no soundtrack, really. I dare someone to do it, though. I really do. I don't know. I don't know. I like Notorious because, I have that weird notoriety, weird fame. That's the name of the One Woman Show, is a weird kind of fame, but I don't know because there's just so many aspects we're dealing with. And you're making me think way too early in the morning. Me against the, I don't know. I don't think there really is.
Right.
So someone just has to do it. So any band out there should just do it. Because there's so many elements of a Jasmin in so many different albums out there. You have Me Against the World by Lizzie Borden, because at times I felt like the underdog. And, since Vice TV came out with that Dark Side of the 90s, I'm sitting there just this past weekend on Saturday with a friend having dinner, and this, am I allowed to say the B word on here?
Yeah, you can.
This freaking nasty bitch just keeps looking over at me, Okay, I'm like, maybe she likes me short or something, blah, blah. And she's like rolled her eyes. So I went over to them. I said, can I help you with something? Like, are you okay? Because I see you keep looking over here.
Yeah.
And her husband is, oh, no, she's just wondering. I see her drink arise at the table. I took her drink and just drank it and put it down and went back to my table. So they started freaking out about COVID. I said, I'm not transmitting to you something I do not have. But just don't go looking at people unless you're prepared to say something or get into it with me. And I know it's like, I've been in, she's just staring, I saw that thing and blah, blah, blah. I said, thank you. I said, the 90s are one of the best eras ever that you'll probably never, ever have a chance to live.
Yeah.
And it's those same dirty looks I was getting back in the 90s. And I don't give a shit. I really don't care. And I just don't.
You're right, too. Life is too short to worry about what other people think.
That's exactly. And that's when you get that whole Me Against the World thing. And it just, They're just not on our page. They're not as cool as we are.
Exactly.
And with metal, I know Lizzie Borden is the first band they killed me on stage the first time I got to see them play at the Reseda Country Club.
Yeah.
Then I took photos with Lizzie with his hands over my boobs. I had my Raiders jersey on. Yeah, it was a wild night.
I could imagine.
Notorious. Yeah, I'm notorious for God knows what. I was like, I've done so many things with my life, more outside of the adult business, but people always bring it back to that, which is fine. I don't really care. But the thing is, it is what it is. And it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But I think people's rudeness, because I wasn't raised as a child to stare at people like that. I wasn't raised to criticize what other people's views on politics or music are, or their way, or what they like what they dress. I just wasn't raised to do that. I don't do it. There's a lot of it here in California where people bash you for this or that. And I don't think that's right. It's not rock and roll,
Yeah, you have to have respect for others.
That's something a lot of young kids lack these days. I was in New York a couple of weeks ago and I was on the train. This kid didn't want to get up to give this old man his seat. He's like on the phone. I went over to him. I said, so aren't you going to get up and give him your seat? Oh, yeah, my leg hurts. I said, yeah. I said, this is an elderly man. He was a vet too. He had like his hat on. He's like barely struggling. He had one leg.
Oh, man.
And he's struggling on a freaking subway. It's like, I just wanted to pull him off of there and pay for his Uber to wherever, Yeah. But it just, finally the kid got up. I made him get up in my own way, which is a pretty bold thing to do, but I really don't care.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. So to answer your question, sir, there is no song whatsoever that'll ever describe my life. And I'm glad. Because wouldn't that be boring if there's a song to like describe your whole life?
Yeah, actually, when you put it like that, it would be. If it could sum up your entire life in like a 3.5 minute song, that sounds like it's not exactly a very fulfilled life. It can be, if it can be summed up like that,
Maybe Born to Be Wild. I don't know.
Well, now that you say it.
Well, no, that's an inside joke too. There's this Austrian guy that used to go to my gym who had a motorcycle. And I'm very immature, if you can't tell already. It's probably because I've never had kids. I don't want kids. I don't really care for them. But I just live. If I wasn't like immature, I don't think I would have gotten through a lot of things. But I should take drugs though. But then he would come to the gym and then he was asking me, like, he wanted to get into adult films at that time.
Right.
So just to mess with him, I gave him the phone number of this guy that did gay porn. And he looked like Stephen Wolf a little bit. That's like this whole inside joke thing. So as a joke, me and my friend changed the words to from Born to Be Wild to Austrian Aspen because of him. I know. I do that a lot. Just, you have to do this shit. It's just, you may raise a few eyebrows in public, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly. There was something I was wanting to ask you, actually. I nearly forgot. Would you have preferred if there was internet back in the 90s the way there is now?
No. That's the whole part of my mystique, is I was born before that whole era. That whole Jasmin was born way before that era. And it's the mystique of it. Nothing's like recorded. I feel as though there's too much liberty with people and their camera phones. Just like not too long ago, I was with some friends that have motorcycles, and I was hanging out with some of them at a bar, and there was something happened. I think someone said something stupid to him and was touching his patches on his vest and all that. And there was, they started a fight with them and with my friend, and went to the parking lot, and some bitch had her phone up there. I just knocked the phone out of her hand and smashed it with my boot, because you just can't do that. And that's what these kids do. It is illegal to tape someone without their consent. So why is it now in a society we're allowed to do that?
Yeah, exactly.
That's not right. So if that's what we're going to do, then where are the privacy laws then? There are none. You have no privacy. And that's just one example. I know it sounds like a bad example, but there are a lot of kids that just say wrong things to the wrong people. And then yet you have your girl in the back taping it. Now, what's that about?
Yeah. It's society is definitely after, I think, changing for the worse. It's kind of headed a scary way.
It is. And I don't know, will it ever change back to what it was before? It should, because I feel as though, even being a public figure, you do not have that right to privacy, and that's fine. But at the same time, you just don't go taping random people like that. And there are lawsuits for that once you do get busted for it,
Yeah.
And I'm kind of guilty of it the same. If someone's doing something stupid, I will videotape them, like at the airport. I videotaped a thing at CBS the other day. I don't know if I should put it out yet, but I might. It's a guy that I got into an argument with. I had my mask right below my nose, but I'm breathing on myself. I don't have anything. He's all the way to the front, telling me to pull it up over my nose. I said, no, I'm not going to. You can't tell me I can't breathe. How do you know I don't have asthma or something, which I don't? But I went off on him. I called him a Karen. I told him to shut his vagina, and he got very offended. I don't know why, but then he eventually left. He left the drugstore.
Right.
The woman was behind the glass with her thing like off completely, telling me, put your nose. I said, I get you feel empowered to sit there behind that glass. You normally had like a hijabi on and you feel empowered to come here and tell me something, but you're a hypocrite. Why haven't you, in the 5 years I've been here, why haven't you lived somewhere, like work somewhere else? You've done the same shit job, so shut your mouth. And it went like from 0 to 1 million in like less than 5 seconds. So my friend works in the back. She's a Samoan girl. She's really big and she's so funny. She's like, yeah, don't tell her what to do. You can't come in here and tell customers what to do. So yeah. But I taped it because it was great. It was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put it out there. You never know.
It's a thought. Yeah. It's definitely a thought.
It is a thought. And like the Machine Gun Kelly videos, when I talk about that, because I can't stand him. I just think he's like the worst poser ever. Like you get these white kids from suburbia who like think they're gangster. I'm gangster till you meet a real one. Like go to South Central. I lived in South Central when I first moved here. I still have friends that are Crips that are down there, and like it's the same shit. You just don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. He's an absolute wannabe.
Right? I know. I love to knock him out. Then he went after like Conor McGregor. Like, how dare you? I love what Conor McGregor said. Oh, I wouldn't hit him. I only fight men. And he's right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like hitting a girl.
Yeah. I'd pay to see that fight though, just to see Conor McGregor whip him around the ring, or the octagon.
I don't know if I'd pay. It'd just be like 1 second. Actually, I would pay it. I don't know what is like. Girls, like his girlfriend's hot. Like, I don't know what she's doing, but maybe she has to do charity work or some shit.
Must be for promotional purposes or something. She might have a new film coming out,
Yeah, and then some.
Either that or she felt sorry for him.
Hey, I've done that before. I was dating a wrestler that I felt sorry for, and I stayed with him because I felt bad for him. But yeah. Strictly out of pity.
Yeah. Which career that you've had was your favorite, or would you go back to?
Wrestling.
Really? This seems like it'd be the most fun, most as we say here, the most crack.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and like I still do the conventions and so forth. It's loyal fans for sure, and it was a great time. Like, it's not the same as it was before. I feel as though the only company that might have something interesting coming up, I think AEW is great, but XPW Wrestling is coming back, hardcore wrestling. And I think that's an excellent time for it. I mean, it's always made an impact to the point where other companies have mimicked things that ECW did. So now XPW is coming back to do something, and I think they're gonna do really well.
Oh, brilliant! Hopefully they do anyway. But yeah, it'd be great.
They do, because I like hold on, is this still going? Yeah, I kind of like. I think they have a great product now. I think it will be different. I think that everyone like who's running it is more schooled than they were before. And I really hope Rob does extremely well with it. I want him to do well because I think he's been through a lot and he deserves it.
Yeah.
That's the owner, Rob. And he was one of my old bosses, but I want him to do well. I really do.
Yeah. It'd be great to see. Before we go, is there anything you want to leave the listeners with? A message for the listeners or anything?
Yeah, keep going to live shows. Only buy a shirt if you know the band. Seriously, that includes a knockoff. And just for always buy the music. Please don't download it because it's been hard enough for a lot of bands in the past year and a half with COVID, and it's super important. Go to festivals, listen to good music, quit buying the crap that's out there on the radio because there is nothing great on that radio anymore. And check out my podcast. Every Friday it drops on Apple and on Spotify. It's called Crazy Train with a K. Oh, and if you ever see me at a show, buy me a shot or have a shot with me. Yeah.
Brilliant. I think that might just be the best closing message we've had.
Oh, thank you. It's true, though. It's true.
Well, Jasmin, I've thoroughly enjoyed the last hour and bit. It was hugely entertaining. Thanks a million for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me on here. It's been so much fun. So make sure you tweet and send this to me because it's been an honor being a part of this. And hearing your voice makes me so sick to be back in the UK.
If you ever come back over, we'll have to have a coffee together or something, or a Guinness.
Absolutely. I'm down for it.
Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed this show. If you did, rate and review us on iTunes. Really helps the show grow. You can find us on social media at Concerts That Made Us Podcast, and be sure to check out our website at www.concertsthatmadeus.com. And if you'd like to support the show, you can do so by signing up at patreon.com/Concerts That Made Us. We've got 3 tiers available. If that's something you're interested in, you'll get access to a private Discord, exclusive uncut video versions of the podcast, early access to ad-free versions of the episodes, and much, much more. So, until next time, keep rocking.
Sensation penetrate in
Hey, what are you guys still doing here? The show's over. It's over. You can go home. Go on. We'll see you next time. We'll be here. Bye.